Hello. Now I'm going to do a sound check with the camera on just to make sure that the sound is on. Sometimes when I start the computer up, the sound doesn't work. And I've been triggered into trying to create videos. Oh, look at that. Before I get the sound check, the phone rings. But I already know it's a telemarketer because I haven't gotten an actual call in a very long time. So I'm going to answer and then hang up. Hello? Now let's check the sound, see what happened. Hello? Okay, so the microphone is working. It's 3:39 p.m. I attempted to make a phone call today to get permission to set up an electronic account in order to create and send in a appeal. And this is now the fifth time I have been put through the same process, and every single time until now, because I'm going to do something different. I have followed the direction I have been given on the phone. It has had the same result. And what I understand is that there is some sort of bankruptcy situation. And that if I want to follow through on what I already have in the written rules as being the appropriate procedure, and what is even verified as an option, if nothing else, on the electronic website that provided me with the phone number I called, that I'm not supposed to follow the rules in the book, and I'm not supposed to follow the rules in the website. I'm supposed to listen to what the person on the phone told me to do, which is kick it back to the same people that have been racketing me for this time over a year and a half. And the problem is the original mischaracterization of my efforts to go to them in absolute good faith were so egregious that it has created a situation that is unsafe. It is unsafe for me to run another transaction out of the local federal district court. And I know that. But their exposure, because of their professional considerations, which also entails obligations, is considerably more than mine personally. And without anybody to actually confirm, and without anybody to talk to me outside of any context really associated with maybe a few mundane things for years, I'm supposed to believe that, and as I understand is actually going on, my cases have been used in proxies in very, very, very significant proceedings, international proceedings. And they might even be international proceedings where a lot of people's lives are at stake, including the lives of people that I used to be very connected to and felt very, very strongly about supporting. But in order for me to do what would be the next thing in the chain of events around being able to try to assist them with some redress for justice, it would mean compromising and taking a hit on what is actually directly, materially relevant to my life and the people I've even been allowed to meet in the last 5 years. That also includes minor children in another country I used to teach. I'm supposed to allow them to be sacrificed because somebody else that hasn't contacted me directly in the last 10 years had a pre-existing deal they set up that was based upon successfully racketing me, or at least racketing my human capital to this point. And so they need me to go back and cover up for them and give them a loan on what I've done. And then maybe if they finally get those particular kickbacks and I do what I'm supposed to do to help them get their kickbacks, they may let me get what? Monetary damages? No, I can't do that. I can't do that because even if it's very significant peril to life and limb that I understand is actually hanging in the balance does not occur now because they get that temporary kickback, that what they've set up and what they have mischaracterized is so significant that the long-term complications further down the way are even more devastating than they would be if I didn't do anything at all. And this has been happening. Justice denied, justice denied, justice denied. And it's not just that justice is denied, because there has to be a process that is followed through on in order to be able to demonstrate things as fact. What has happened is an intentional effort to sabotage what could have been a intervention to prevent the proliferation And that is not something they want. At some point, I think it's because they literally intended to leverage certain deaths and certain fatalities. And now it's at the point where it is absolutely undeniable how extreme this criminal conspiracy is. And all they're doing is trying to get as many people latched on and dependent upon covering up for them as possible to save their own asses. And I'm not going to be one of those people. I apologize. It would have really helped if somebody had tried to find some way to talk to me as a person in person in the last 10 years about these matters. But there's no way I'm going to give another local kickback on a capital case to people that only used my cases to set up accounts they used to engage in acts of terrorism. I need a transfer out of this district, and I need direct access to the Court of Appeals. It is not my fault that people that insist on being able to go through a bureaucratic process because they claim that they have the privilege of some sort of professional affiliation have so subverted justice that it's dangerous and reckless to acknowledge they have the authority to prevent me from being able to move forward as a professional myself. If there is no room for an actual constitutional process, including one that is procedurally correct, because again, you're attempting to extort me into delivering on a local kickback so that they can come up with some sort of procedural error while they open up another electronic account, I cannot comply. I cannot comply. And if you gave me an order, I would consider it to be a threat to myself and to other people, just so you know. So I'm really hoping that this message gets out and somebody reconsiders this very bad judgment. I can be reasonable, including under a stressful and pressure-ridden situation. But your racial programming and your social engineering and your consistent looping of this kickback scheme has failed the entire time. There is no point in continuing it. There has to be a break in the programming, and there has to be an allowance for an understanding that the code was wrong to begin with. Thank you very much. It is 3:46 p.m. in Dallas, Texas on December 22nd, 2020. I need to have an official response and process available to me within 24 hours and 14 minutes.